Let's make this darling vintage snowman with a little bit of a postage theme for the background. Hey everyone, it's Joy here and welcome to my channel. Okay, let's start with our snowman first. This is the Lovely Layers Vintage Snowman from Honeybee Stamps, and I just think he is so darling. And there's a few ways that you can put him together. I'm going to use a cute little Santa hat, but he does have a top hat, which is super cute. He also has a candy cane that he's going to be holding, but mine's going to be holding Christmas lights because I love Christmas lights, anything die cut, stamps, whatever. Christmas lights is my favorite. And then he also has his little stick arms here, and you can also put mittens on the end of him, which I did not do for this. So there's a few ways you can put him together. I decided to use a little bit of an alcohol ink marker. I did a Copic marker in BG 10 and 11 around his body just to give him a little bit of color. And then all of his die cutting is done. I used red velvet cardstock here, and I'm using mulberry blush from Pink Fresh Studio to just ink that up and give that a little bit of some contrast between the light and dark of the cardstock. You don't have to do that. And so then I'm just going to do a little bit of ink blending and putting our snowman together. And then we have our darling background. I'm going to be using Waffle Flowers Postage Collage die and the Postage Collage block stencil. I've used this on a few of my cards, and I kind of told you how obsessed I am with that. So I will have everything listed and linked for you guys below in the description. I know it's probably a little bit late for Christmas stuff, but if you don't have these products, you can get ahead for next year because they are so super cute. This snowman is a good size and he is darling. I do want to apologize for how I sound. I have been so sick with the flu. I got sick, so I haven't had much videos on my channel. I got sick. I started not feeling good like on the 1st of December. And then that was a Monday, by Wednesday, it just hit me and my husband like a ton of bricks, and we are still not 100% back. Yesterday, I think, was the first day I did a little bit of work and cooked dinner in the same day, if that tells you anything. And then there was a big nap in between. Just, yeah, not great. So I'm getting over that. Did you see that cute little carrot nose? How cute is that? I was doing the advent calendar for Spellbinders. I don't even know that I'm going to get back onto that because I have to do some things to be ahead for the new year. So I'm going to try my best. I will still have a few videos out through the end of the year, but starting at the beginning of the year, I have the Spellbinders Club kits, and I'm doing all of the kits, you guys, and I'm so excited about that. I took a little bit of vintage photo around the edge of my snowman because he is vintagey. I don't want him to be all bright and shiny. I'm gluing the little pieces of snow that he's sitting in, which I think is such a great detail on this die. Honeybee Stamps, I just think, does such an amazing job on their dies, and especially their Lovely Layers dies. Oh my gosh, so cute. Okay. And today on their channel, I have a video, and it's the Lovely Layers Vintage Santa. And it is a postcard, and it can be so cute, and I'm going to use it as a decoration in my house. So anyways, now we're going to glue on his eyes, his eyebrows, his mouth. Really super cute. I added a little bit of white gel pen for a highlight on his eyes. And then we're going to glue his carrot nose on, which I think is darling. And I love this scarf because you have both ends of the scarf that you can kind of place, you know, it kind of goes in one spot, but you can shift it a little bit, you know. You got his cute little kohl buttons. Here's the scarf that I'm talking about. So you have that layered piece, which has all the details in it. And then we're going to place that piece there. That's the piece that you can kind of move around, but I love it. I love, love, love it. And then you have the holly berries and leaves, and you can put that on either hat. You could put it on his scarf. You could do whatever. And I loved it on this hat. And his little fluff ball. Now, I did die cut the little fluff on his hat from Alabaster cardstock instead of just white. I wanted that to stand out differently from the snowman, and because it's vintage, That felt very vintagey to me. Okay, so we have his darling scarf. Let's get his hat on here. Oh, he's such a cutie. I'm going to wipe off a little bit of that glue because it was a little too far out there. Let's place that on. Oh, how cute is that? And then look at how fun that is. I love that. Of course, bringing in some of that beautiful greenery that, you know, is just part of Christmas and so lovely. And then we have his little stick hands and arms. And so here is the string for the Christmas lights. Again, there's also a candy cane that he can be holding, but I know I love a Christmas light, so I had to put that on here. So I'm going to put that arm on the front, kind of tuck it under his scarf. This other arm is going to go on the back. And I just want to make sure that it's the right distance to hold the string of Christmas lights. So I die cut the Christmas lights from Teal, Topaz, Saffron, and Rainforest and Beeswax. No, not Saffron. Teal, Topaz, Rainforest, Beeswax, and then the red velvet cardstock from Gina. The other cardstocks are from Spellbinders. The white and black are from scrapbook.com. So I'm just adding a little dot of glue on the tips of the lights, and then I can just take my string and put it in place. How cute. I need to grab one more red light for the end there. And we have this darling string of lights. All right, let's do that. Okay, then we can put that in place. Isn't he so cute? And think about him with his top hat. How cute is that? And little mittens. I mean, this is just such a cute die. So let me pop that in place. Okay, so then I have die cut Waffle Flowers Postage Collage die from Kraft Cardstock from Gina. And then I am using the coordinating block stencil and using Salvage Patina Distress Oxide ink for the background. And because this is a snowman, I wanted it to feel snowy. Even though we have a lot of the traditional colors, that's totally fine. But I wanted the background to feel like that. But I did like the Kraft cardstock as well because this is a vintage snowman. And so I still wanted it to feel that way. That's why I'm using the stencil. Now, I want to make sure this is nice and dry. I didn't let it dry quite enough. I used my heat tool, but I was impatient. And so some of my embossing powder did stick, but I just used a paintbrush to brush that away. I did prep it with an anti-static powder tool. I'm using scrapbook.com's Flurry, which is that large snowflake, and then the holiday stamp set has smaller snowflakes and the sentiment that I'm going to be using on this card. So I'm going to have my heat tool on. I like to have that going while I'm stamping. Let me get my clear embossing ink, and I'm going to stamp it in a few different sections, just getting the snowflakes on. Now, I'm not using the stencil as a mask. I don't mind if the snowflakes go past and onto the Kraft cardstock and, you know, kind of crossing over. I actually want that on this card. I had done a previous card on my channel where I used the stencil as a mask because I didn't want to get it onto the Kraft. But this time, I don't mind. I think it looks really pretty. So I'm going to move that around. And the good thing about clear embossing ink is it stays sticky for a minute, so you have some working time before you sprinkle on all of your embossing powder. And like I said, some of it was still sticking, and I just used a dry paintbrush to brush that off. And then I'm just going to heat that. And I added a few more snowflakes, but I don't think I showed that here. But look at that background. I love it. It's so pretty. Then on Kraft cardstock, I'm going to heat emboss my sentiment from the holiday stamp set. This says, "You make spirits bright." And I'm going to do white heat embossing, so I'm prepping that with my anti-static powder tool, using my clear ink, and then sprinkling that on and using my heat tool. And then I'm just going to trim that out with my paper trimmer to a long strip, and that will be our sentiment. Look at how cute that is. So let's trim that out. And then I'm just gonna, I think I brush it off with an with my dry rag once the heat embossing has cooled, just to get that powder off. I'm using 2mm foam adhesive behind my snowman and the sentiment. I'm going to place a snowman right in the center, but towards the top a little bit because I do want my sentiment at the bottom. Or did I say snowman? I want my snowman towards the top. I don't know if I said that or sentiment. And then the sentiment at the bottom. Look at how darling he is. Oh my gosh, I love him so much. This would also be great for any wintertime card. This doesn't have to be a Christmas card. Anyone that has a birthday and that loves snowmen, you definitely can use him. Just change out the scarf color, change out the hat color for anything that's non-Christmassy. I pop that up with 1mm foam adhesive onto a red velvet background. I'm adding a few little clay snowflakes to his scarf because he just needed a little something extra. And then a white gel pen as highlights on the Christmas lights and on the berries. There's a little indent from the die cuts, a little embossed area. That's supposed to be a highlight. So I'm going to use that there. And then look at how darling he is. Oh my gosh, I love him so much. So again, doesn't always only have to be Christmas. He definitely can be just wintertime. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by and watching. If you like what you've seen, please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, and I hope you guys have a really wonderful holiday and Merry Christmas.